Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk. Back again with another Crazy Cat project. I call them Crazy Cat because they're all a bit gingham this week. I just thought it was such a lot of fun, and I wanted to use the Gingham Gala paper because it's grey and it's miserable, and I've had a bit of a miserable time recently. So do you know what? I wanted something bright and cheerful. So here you go. You could obviously make this in whatever colours you wanted, but I've used the beautiful Gingham Gala Stampin' Up paper, which has got gorgeous colours in it, really spring-like, and you've got everything from sort of blue, lovely daffodil delight, there's a calypso coral in there, lemon lime twist, and some balmy blue. Now my first prototype for this cards, so this is what we're doing at the moment, little suite of 3 different cards. First one is a simple card there, just a friendship card. This one is a wiper card with a little pop-up cat, which I just thought was a bit cute, and I just love this little mouse down here, so pop back and see that one. And then this one is my Concertina card, all using 9 lives. So you can see we've got lovely cats here that can be a plain cat if you've got one that hasn't got stuff colouring on, but you can add patches, or you can add stripes, or you can do both, and in fact that's what I've done. So I'm going to pop the stamp set to one side because I'm going to show you the other version, and this is for my tomcat. I've got a ginger tabby, and he sits on our log pile in the summer, so a cat on a log pile is what I've got here with the wood textures. And this card, you can see, just concertinas down, but it means it stands up really well for folks, and when you open it up, I've added some extra panels on the inside with a panel there for you to write on, or you could obviously add a panel on the back. So that's the card. I made a little envelope for it as well because it's thicker than a normal card and a slightly different size. So I'll put the dimensions for that on my blog, and the links for all the products will also be on there. And then this is a bit of a faux pas. So I was making the card and I grabbed some cardstock, and then I realised when I looked at it in the daylight, I've actually used granny apple green instead of lemon lime twist. But you know what? It works really well as well, a slightly darker shade, but that's the lemon lime twist which actually coordinates, matches perfectly with Gingham Gala. But if you've got the darker granny apple green, that works well too. So, you know, it just shows that the Stampin' Up colours really do work with each other as well. And I've just stamped and punched my cat here in both the card and with the images as well. So that's what we're making today. I will put the dimensions on my blog in inches for those of you who work in inches, and I haven't done much prep, so we're going to be starting from scratch. I will try and keep measurements in view, which means I'm going to zoom out now and show you my messy desk, always messy, and you're going to start by creating a base in Whisper White cardstock, standard Whisper White, because you're adding layers to it, and you're also you know, both card and DSP, you really don't need to use the thick Whisper White on this one. And I'm cutting a piece that is 24 centimetres along the length by 18 centimetres on the width, and that conveniently avoids that horrible measurement on the join of the Stampin' Up trimmer. So pop your scraps to one side, you'll use those later on. And then we're going to do some scoring. So our scoring is very simple. On the long edge, you're going to score every 6 centimetres. So that's at 6, at 12, at 18. And then turn it to portrait, and now we're going to do some cutting. So you're going to cut at 4.5 centimetres from the bottom up to the first score line, so that's up to the 18 centimetre mark. Move it along to 9 centimetres, cut from the bottom up to the second score line, which is at about 12 centimetres. Then at 13.5 centimetres, you're going to cut from the bottom up to the first score line from the top, like so. So you're going to have 3 cuts from the bottom up to the first, middle and top score line. Okay, pop that away. We will need our trimmer to do some card pieces later, but the next thing we're going to do is actually use our scissors. So you're going to come down, and if you've got it as I'm holding it here, just come to the right or on the right edge of that score line, and just trim those pieces away. So you're kind of making like a step effect. Now, if you're struggling to see the score lines, by all means burnish them first. Don't do as I've done there, which is just cut it really wonky. It's always more difficult to do when you're on a video because of all the lights. It's so grey here today. It's not a spring day. So you will end up with a piece of card that looks like this. Then you want to come in with your bone folder and just reinforce those score lines. So make sure you line it on the right hand edge, just burnish that. The same again on the second one, and then again on that last one. Okay, and then this middle one you're just going to fold back on itself. Now if, as I have, you've got any little slightly raggedy bits, without knocking your lamp out, it's all going to go wrong. I feel like I'm a crazy cat lady today. Just trim those up. I use a sanding block, but any stray bits. So that's our card base. So you can see there it's stepped that we're using. Okay, now you're going to come in and cut the next bit, which is to cut our panel pieces. So I've cut some strips of card to 5.5 centimetres. And you're going to then do the first one, 5.5 by 17.5. So that's just across the join there. You're going to do 5.5 by 13 centimetres. Five and a half by 8.5 centimetres. And then 5.5 by 4 centimetres. Okay, so that's all of our card. Now we're going to come in with our designer series paper and decide whether you're going to use the smaller check or the larger one. I use the small one because it's a smaller card. So you're going to cut strips of 5 centimetres to start off with. So 5, another one at 5, and the last one. And then you're going to cut your strips into 12.5. I want one that's 7 centimetres and an 8 centimetre, like so. And then my final piece, I want a piece that's 3.5. Like so. Okay. Now, next thing to do before I get into any further mess is to add those pieces to my card layers. And the reason the one is much shorter is, you may recall from my sample, it's because we've left a panel. Can't stick straight for toffee, thank goodness. Snail is a little forgiving. Here we go. I haven't pushed it down too hard. Just try and line that up a little bit better. Okay. Because this one is going to go at the very top, and then we're going to have a panel of Whisper White down below, which I'll add on in a moment. Okay, so these can now go into our card. The great thing with the snail is it's super quick and easy. Now, if you're starting out and you're a bit worried about using snail, then what I would suggest is that you try our wet glue. That's the Tombow, because that gives you a little bit of what we call wiggle room. And when you do the card, just make sure you sort of, if you can see here, I'm sort of folding it as I go along, and that's to make sure I get my panels in the right place. Now, if you don't, then it's easy just to add an extra panel as well. But it helps you make sure you're lining up. Like so. And then the last one just down. Okay, and I've obviously cut that one slightly wrong. Okay, so I've obviously lined that one up slightly wrong. So, just to show you, and the reason I know that is because I've got a wider border, you can see there. So I evidently didn't do a very good job on that one. Let's have a look. That's because I didn't line it up at 4.5. There you go. I can see now, I've lined back up. I must have moved in my enthusiasm to get your project. So ignore the crazy cat lady who's getting it wrong at the moment. Oh look, that's better. So we now have our panel card like so, and so we're going to need to punch out some of our cats. So I'm just getting literally a scrap of yellow Daffodil Delight card, and I'm punching out 2 cats. Like so. So those are going to be my cats for those panels there. And you can see it's just starting to come to life now with adding those on. So now what I'm going to do is create my cats. Now what I've done here, I've used the Stamparatus, and this is where if you're making several cards, it is absolutely brilliant because I can I'll make sure my layers line up beautifully. And what I'm doing is I'm first of all inking up, a real horrible glare from my lights there, apologies, inking up my cat and popping him down, and then I'm going to do my Patches cat. There we go, and there we have Patches. And then I'm just going to flip that piece of card around now and do exactly the same with my base cat again. So, oh, no, that piece of card isn't quite big enough. I've just got another scrap here. And this is what I use. I just put a little bit of a right angle of card in here. Just helps me get it, make sure it's in the right spot. See, lovely. And I've put my stripes on the opposite side, so I'm just going to ink that up as well. Again, with photopolymer, particularly if they haven't been used before, you might need to just add on a couple of times, add your ink. There we go, and there we have my stripy cat. So I'm going to pop that to one side now. Pop my ink away because I will put everything in the ink. And then you can just pop in with your punch and punch one cat. I've possibly left, because I left a little bit too much on the bottom there, and I'm just going to line that up. And if you're ever struggling to line it up, like there where you haven't left yourself much space, then the perfect thing to have, excuse my squeaky seat, just grab a post-it note, stick it on, on the edge there, and then it gives you an extra little bit. And actually what it is I've not quite trimmed the bottom square. There we go. Rubbish demonstrated moment. Okay, right. Line it up, squeeze to punch. And there you have a post-it note attached to the cat, right? Right, here we go. So there I have my 2 cats. So now let's bring our card back in, and to attach these, again, it's up to you entirely what glue you use. I'm just going to use my snail. So I'm going to pop a bit of post-it note off, and I'm going to put some glue on the bottom section of this, and I'm going to line my cat up, keeping it fairly central. This one, actually, we can come further up the body. And I just want sort of as if it's sitting on a step. So if you just avoid coming on the head, that will sit beautifully. Same with our next one. Here comes our little cat. And then our final cat for the top. Okay. All that's left is that panel of Whisper White for the back, and that's a very simple piece. That is just 5 centimetres wide again. So just 5 centimetres by 10 centimetres. And that piece then will just fit underneath that panel like so. And obviously you can choose to decorate that with some of the other accents. If you want the little mouse, which I think is quite cute, and you could really go to town with that as well. Like so. Okay, so there we have a pair of Crazy Cat Concertina cards. If you've got a cat lover friend, I'm sure they'd love to receive one of these. Come back and see me again soon, and if you'd like to purchase any of the items, go to my blog www.flutterbyheidi.co.uk. follow the links to my shop to purchase them, and if the dimensions for the envelope will also be on there. So that's this little envelope here, just made from some copier paper, just to pop our Crazy Cat cards in. Come back and see me soon. Bye now.